Hello and welcome to the third McMoodle tutorial. In this McMoodle tutorial we're going to look at something a little bit different. We're going to look at setting up activities and resources for your online learning activities. And just to show you what Moodle is capable of, and this is a very simple example, but I'm going to show you an activity that a student might be able to participate in via Moodle. So let's log in. This is just a fake student ID that I've created, and so we're going to log in, and you'll see that the students don't really have the same number of options as teachers do on the Moodle interface. They can really only see their courses, they can navigate, and there's a few settings they can change. So let's just click on one of the courses, and you can see that this is a History course, and this is what the Histories department has decided to use Moodle for just in the beginning. And there's a vocabulary test. So as the student, we click on the vocabulary test, and it offers us the chance to attempt the quiz now. And Moodle allows you to set it so that children can take the quiz once or as many times as you'd like, and you can get the highest score or the lowest score or the average score. And you can see that this is a bit of a vocabulary test and a spelling test. So there's a sentence there, and then they've got to identify the correctly spelt term. And you can configure it so you get either immediate feedback, so you can see I got that one right, lucky for me, or they can get feedback right at the end. This one is configured for immediate feedback, so after every question there's a submit button, and it checks to see whether they've got it right. So you're just working my way through the test there. Now this can be a set for homework. You can do this in class, and what it does is it encourages students to engage with the vocabulary, something that the History department has identified as being very important, especially in stage 4. Of course, this is just one example of an online learning activity. The Trade Training Centre has been doing a lot of work trying to get this kind of learning happening, and students currently submit assignments via Moodle, and they also engage in much more complicated learning activities, including some quite lengthy answers and reviews and watching films and uploading films that they've made. Okay, so now we're just going to log out and we're going to log back in as a teacher, and I'm going to show you the kinds of things that a teacher can do with the information once the children have attempted the course, and then I'll show you how, of course, how to make such a simple quiz like that. So you log in as your teacher. Of course, always you don't want it to remember your password if you're working on a shared computer. Remember the importance of security. And as you can see, we've logged back in, and again we've got a lot more options now. You can see all those course categories that I have access to. And what we have here, this is just an example of online learning for the Trade Training Centre. And you can see that I've configured 4 online learning activities for people to use. Now, you've got two options here. You can either add a resource or an activity. So what we're going to do, first off, is we're going to add one of these. Now this usually takes a little more time to load, so we're going to select quiz from the drop down menu, and then we're going to create a quiz. Now Moodle's a little bit tricky in that you've got to create the quiz and then add the questions to the quiz. So you don't create it all at once. It's kind of like the quiz is a container, and then you create the questions somewhere else and then you put them in the container. Sometimes Moodle gets a little bit stuck. You can see nothing happened when I selected quiz. So you just go back and select the original option on the menu, and then you try quiz again and it'll load just like that. So this is the quiz menu, and all of the quizzes are assigned to a particular topic within the online learning. And so we're just going to come up with a name for our quiz here, and a very short description of what the quiz is all about. And you'll see if we scroll down, there is a wealth of options regarding the way that we use the quiz. When you'd like it set, when it can be opened, when it can be closed. So you can have a certain window that students can access it for. And that allows a lot of configuration. Something that Lee Sullivan does is that he allows it open for revision, and then he'll close it, and then he'll open it on the day of the test, and students can have a go at it to see if their revision has paid off, which is quite a good idea. And these are all the settings that you use to configure when students get feedback. They can either get feedback after each question, at the end of the quiz overall, or you can hold the feedback until you want to release it. You can also configure the feedback. So for example, you can set it up so a student who gets 50% gets a different message than somebody who gets 80%, than somebody who gets 90%. But once you're ready, we want to hit save there, just down the bottom. And we've created the container, like I said. So if we go down to Online Learning Week 5, we'll be able to see it there. And there it is. Now, if we click on it, we can now add the questions to the quiz. And you can have a variety of different kinds of questions. So the first menu asks you what kind of question you would like, and as you can see, there's a huge number of different kinds of questions, including essay responses. Now, essay responses, or longer responses, Moodle can't mark for you, so you have to mark them for yourself. But that's a relatively straightforward process. We're going to start off with something quite simple, and we're just going to go for the multiple choice. Okay, so you need to come up with a question name, just question 1 will do. And then here's where you enter the text for your question. Just like I'm doing on the screen now. And then below it you configure the kinds of answers you want. So you enter the right answers and the wrong answers. Now, it's important that at least one of the answers is equal to 100%, and leave the others set to 0 for the case of this multiple choice quiz, because the 100% says that this is the right answer and all the other answers are wrong. And once you've done that, you can save your changes. and you'll see our question appears now in our quiz. It's important to make sure that you click save there as well, just like I've done. Otherwise it won't remember to keep your quiz in that particular position. Just a few things to remember. Put the questions into the quizzes. Always set one answer to 100% and check what it looks like for students.